Former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was invited to speak at a forum hosted by the NGO Formosa Republican Association. At the event, Pompeo said he believed the U.S. should abandon its strategic ambiguity toward cross-strait relations and recognize Taiwan's de facto independence.
The New York Times wrote a story one day that said, Mike Pompeo, worst Secretary of State ever. My son called me and said, hey, Dad, there was a Secretary of State who lasted only 11 days. Surely you're better than him.
Laughter erupted in the audience as former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo opened his speech with a personal anecdote. At the forum, Towards Permanent World Peace, the shared mission between the U.S. and Taiwan, Pompeo explained how he believes he and Trump had successfully deterred the sabotage of the rules-based international order.
We had developed what we believed was a pretty effective model for deterrence against adversaries who wanted to undermine the set of rules and value sets that the people of Taiwan and the people of the United States hold dear. Succeeding in continuing to build this model out will not solely rest at the feet of President Trump and his team. It will be shared with Taiwan. You will be crucial in this effort. Free nations, especially those in this area, in the Indo-Pacific, must send an unambiguous message to Beijing that you are free, that Taiwan is free, that Taiwan is independent, and it's going to stay that way. Nothing's going to change it. Xi Jinping will not determine the future of Asia or of Taiwan. You will.
Pompeo also said he believes it's time for the U.S. to formally end its strategic ambiguity towards cross-strait relations and recognize the facts on the ground.
Ambiguity that has existed about this place for an awfully long time creates risk. I think it misleads the international community and it increases aggression in the region. I have said that the era of strategic ambiguity ought to be over, that it is time to acknowledge just the facts on the ground. One of the things I was most proud of, and that I think President Trump will do again, to accept the world as it is.
As for how he thinks Taiwan should respond to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's comment during his campaign that Taiwan should pay the U.S. for protection, this is what Pompeo said.
And I always encourage everyone, as they're thinking about how President Trump will deliver peace and prosperity to the world in the next 4 years in the same way he did in his previous 4 years, is to look at what he did. Rather than something that he may have said or got cut off or...
Also at the forum, during the question and answer session, a lawmaker asked whether there will be a Taiwanese representative office in the U.S. in Trump's second term.
I hope they will conclude that fundamentally recognize that Taiwan is this separate thing. And when one does that, one ought to treat it as that thing, right?
Pompeo, who's been vocally supportive of Taiwan since stepping down, said he believes the U.S. should recognize Taiwan's de facto independence.